Today on 10 Minute IT Jams, we're joined by Nico Walraven, who is the Regional Director for APAC at Neat. Innovative video conferencing devices and collaboration tools are essential as ever as distributed work environments become the norm. Nico joins us today to tell us more about Neat and discuss how they're helping customers adapt to the changing workplace needs of today and tomorrow. Thank you for coming along, Nico, and welcome to the Jam.
Thanks, Tom. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Well, let's get straight into it. Could you start by explaining who Neat is and what your key products and offerings are?
Yeah, Neat is a Norwegian organization that started 3 years ago. And what we do is we bring video collaboration into devices which are really nicely designed. It's like that Scandinavian design that the Norwegians bring to the table, but also really easy to use. And you put those two together, it's a value proposition that when we came into the market, it was like, wow, that's amazing. And then when we brought the technology on top of that, it was like, that's really cool. So we'll talk about a little bit more about that, but that's in essence who we are. So we are very much focused on making sure that we have the best meetings on Zoom and the best meetings on Microsoft Teams in a all-in-one package design that you can easily set up, and within 20 minutes you're good to go and going into a meeting.
Well, now, how does Neat challenge the status quo of today's modern workplace collaboration?
So today's modern workplace or hybrid workforce is something that's here to stay, right? People working from home, people working in the office, like between these two places. We actually see that market is growing by 24% year over year, CAGR, according to Frost. We also see most organizations have, well, 50% of organizations have 2 or more video collaboration solutions in their organization. How that's evolving is that back in the day when we still had COVID, it was all about, can you hear me? Can you see me? Now it's about artificial intelligence. It's about how do I make a room or the environment that I'm in a lot smarter. And that can be done with artificial intelligence, understanding, for instance, that I'm a human being, I'm standing here. Even if I turn myself around, still knows that I'm here. If I bring in more people, it will start to cut out all the stuff that you see on the side here, but really so you can focus on a person's face and his facial expressions, which is really what we are very excel at. This is called symmetry. And other things like we have sensors built in our devices that tell you exactly how many people are in this room, what's the temperature like, what's the CO2 levels like, VOC levels. All that information is very valuable for organizations who have decided to invest in an all-in-one solution from Neat. Be able to tell across all the different offices that I run how much of these rooms actually being used. Are the temperatures that optimal, or is the air quality optimal? All these kind of things are all in one device, and that's where we are right now.
Well, now, what are some of the trends in the video market that your product development team is laser focused on next?
So the interesting thing is that when we are really trying to think of what would be the next thing, it's almost like, back in the day when we had desktop computers and we go to a room and there's your computer and your big CRT screen and you just do your computing work. And then the laptops came onto the market and now we can suddenly work wherever we want. So similar to video collaboration, right? So when we started with video collaboration, it is one dedicated room. But turns out that if you want to have a meeting, there are more appropriate places within the office. It could be a pantry or it could be an open office space. Having a device like the NeatBoard 50 or the NeatBoard 65 to be able to push into any kind of environment, stick it into the wall for power and have a meeting of that space is what's next. And what we actually already see is that when customers start using this thing, they say, "Oh, hey, what's really exciting is that you understand the environment, right? You understand that there's an open office space. So adjusting the sound in the way that it works, so you can be really audible is really important. I can see you really well, and I can decide who should be in a meeting, who should not be in a meeting in an open office space. So you mentioned you have like a big room of people, and I can decide only I want to see these 5 people here because I set the parameters in such a way. So Only Neat allows you to have a meeting wherever you want in your organization. I think that's a very, very big trend. The other part which is coming is bringing applications to the Neat products. So very focused on Zoom and Teams before, Now we are bringing in Miro, we are bringing in AppSpace and a whole lot of other applications. So that you have a situation like, I would like to have a discussion on Miro. We collaborate on that board. Then I want to share it into a meeting space. We bring in another board. They talk to each other. So I pump the feed into Teams or into Zoom, and then we can collaborate on a much larger audience. So that's where the trends are, and that's how we really differentiate from anybody else. Yeah. So I'll give you an example of one of our customers here in Australia, the Royal Australasian College of Surgeons, which is an organization that trains surgeons across Australia, but even outside of Australia as well. And they chose our product because of that flexibility, right? So you can just move it around, put it into this classroom, and everybody can collaborate, everybody's seen properly, and it's super simple. You just walk up to the board, because it's touch, you can press start the meeting, because the meeting is already populated. Just press one button and you're in the meeting, and everybody can be seen really well. So that's a case study that we also put online, and that's, if you want to understand a little bit better how that works and how that had the impact on our business, that's a really nice story.
Oh, always good. Makes things easier to understand, doesn't it? Well, now, how do you work with, I mean, this sort of goes in with that. How do you work with partners in the region?
We have a level of distributors, and we have a number of partners. So there's an interesting shift happening there as well. So typically the video industry, there's the AV partners and the solution engine, the SIs who play their role, right, in setting up the devices. And it really came down with also the complexity of the product. It is not easy to integrate into a Microsoft environment or in a Zoom environment. It requires some specialized people to do that. However, when you make devices so simple that everybody can able to understand and set it up, now you get partners who are architects, who are people who design offices, people who consultants, who are using this like, oh, because of the design and because of how easy it is, I can easily put this thing in myself. I can still work with an SI to integrate it into Microsoft Teams or Zoom, but different set of partners are coming on board, which is a very interesting thing to see.
Well, now, I guess one final question to finish off. If an enterprise end user wanted to engage with Neat, what's the best way they can do that?
So we have Integrate is happening in end of this month. We have a fantastic booth there. So the whole Neat team will be there for Australia and for New Zealand. So you can have a one-on-one discussion. If you can't, go to neat.no. Why .no? No.no means Norway. So neat.no, we are a Norwegian company. And all this information that I talked about is all there. So it talks about Neat Symmetry, it's very visual, it's very easy to understand, it's beautifully designed, so you get a really good understanding of what it is. Or you can just reach out to us. But these two would be the best way to do it right now.
I take it that case study you mentioned is also on your website as well?
That's right, also on neat.no. That's correct.
Awesome, okay. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the Jam, Nico, and hearing more about Neat and what you guys do. We look forward to hearing more from Neat very soon.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Tom.